Alright, welcome back to Warden Tanking 101. So in this video we're going to cover the fist and shield line. This is the line that will do all of our aggro generation and also give us some nice buffs along the way. So I'm just going to open the dummy up and then walk through what the gambits do.
Okay, looking forward to it.
So the first gambit is the fist and shield, which is Warcry. This is going to give you a nice 63k evade rating and also do damage over time to a bunch of targets in front of you. So max targets of 10 and it's in a cone in front of you. Interestingly, the Warden gambits do area damage based on the target that you've hit, not where you're facing. So I could be facing this way. The area effect will actually trigger on the dummy and not the direction that I'm facing, which is something useful to know.
That's nice for aggro control of big groups, so you don't have to face the group per se.
It is, yeah, and also positioning in things like AD, where you have multiple ads coming in, so you can actually base your AoE off your target and not where you're stood. So yeah. If you want to do 3 and 2, this will give you a nice evade rating. That's step 1 in the gambit.
3 and 2.
Exactly.
Yep, I see the evade rating for 1 minute and the gambit chain.
Yep. So the next one is 3, 2, and 3, and this will also give you even more evade rating and do another damage over time to 10 targets in a radius of 10 meters around the target that you hit.
So this is the aggro line, but also the evade rating buff line, I guess.
Exactly.
So 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Yep. I also have finishing blow Warcry.
Exactly. So what this will do is, give me a second. So this is going to give your finisher, Desolation, an additional 5% mischance, or it's going to add even more evade rating to the next gambit in the line.
So I guess we're going to choose that option.
It depends on what you're tanking, really. So when you're tanking bosses in raids, you're going to want the evade rating for sure. However, if you are pulling multiple groups of trash, say you're in a 6-man instance and you've got 3 or 4 groups on you, and you're going to hit 10 targets and give them all a mischance, when they're missing you, they're not doing any damage. So that's better than a slight evade rating, and it does more damage, therefore more aggro.
Okay, circumstantial.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a look at the surety of death damage, this is going to do for me, it's 41 to 61k light damage initially, and then another 28k every 4 seconds, versus 45 to 60k, and then 38k every 4 seconds. So it's an extra 10k damage every 4 seconds, and adds the mischance.
That's nice. A little bit of DPS and mischance, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So when it's single target tanking on a boss, you're just going to use the first 3, and then when you have lots of enemies around you, then you're going to use the final one instead, or you can use all of them. So
okay.
This is great. So for example, you're doing the Fall of Kazakh Doom and you have loads of ads coming down the stairs, you're going to be using these AoE skills almost exclusively to pull everything around you to you. Now, as we're talking about aggro, this is your main aggro generating gambits. What we want to talk about as well is the Warden's Force Taunts.
So that's what I'm gonna use like in my rotation, or am I gonna use it like oh shit, I'm losing the aggro skill?
Usually at the start of your rotation to grab aggro. So for those of you who are not aware how aggro works in Lord of the Rings, essentially the more damage you do, the more healing you do, the more aggro you generate. And it's a competition between you as the tank and the DPS and healers as to who's doing more. In your blue line, you're already generating far more aggro than anybody else. You get a massive aggro generation buff. However, when you're playing with elite DPSs and really good healers, they're probably going to pull the aggro off you. So what you have is you have two forced attacks, and the way the forced attack works is it copies everybody else's aggro or threat and gives it to you. So you can essentially get, if you're in a 3-man, it's 3 people's worth, if it's 6-man, it's 6 people's worth, and if it's a raid, it's going to be your fellowship's worth. So 6 people's worth of aggro is going to be given to you, which will put you at the top of the pile very quickly and very easily. So we
So it's like the captain with that you don't lose aggro like ever again, realistically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So if you're getting 6 people's worth of aggro, it's going to take you a very long time before they catch up and get the aggro off you again. Fortunately, they have quite a short cooldown. So what we have is warning shot. This is a ranged forced taunt. So
that's this one.
Yeah, I'll just pull
open it.
The dummy up. So this has a range of 30 meters. So that's a single target force taunt, which is quite nice. It only has a 10-second cooldown, so you can do this whenever you feel like you might be losing aggro, and just throw it into your rotation every now and then. Just sprinkle it in nicely to make sure you're top. Or if you're in a raid where tank swapping is required, and you don't want to do an AoE pull of everything, you can just throw the skill, and then you're guaranteed to get the aggro off the tank. One caveat of this skill is it can be resisted. So it's not 100% guaranteed, but with the trading that we did in the earlier video with the finesse, this really reduces the chances of actually being resisted.
So in case it is resisted, in Fall Cause of Doom, I presume, let's see, if this is resisted, it is reflected. I don't have the aggro. I use this taunt.
Exactly, so that's Defiant Challenge. This is an AoE aggro. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this skill because this is important for people gearing for endgame. I am using the Remochan set. As part of this, the 4-set bonus gives me 5% extra mitigation bonuses for both physical and tactical when I use this skill, which is a big bonus. So I want to be using this on cooldown where possible. It's a 30-second cooldown, so every 30 seconds, if it's not on, I just want to pop it, get aggro back, and enjoy the benefit of having an extra 5% mitigations for the next 30 seconds. So
when tank swapping, do you save it to use it as a second option to get aggro back, or are you just using it in your rotation?
It depends. So when I'm tank swapping, usually I'll use Warning Shot because that's a single target, and then follow it up with Defiant Challenge if it's off cooldown.
When you're not the main tank, I presume you're not using it because you steal away aggro from the tank that is currently tanking the boss. So that means in that gap time you're less tanky.
Yeah, it has a 10-meter range, so what you can do if you feel that you need those extra mitigations, you can just run away from the boss. It doesn't matter because you're the off tank, you're not getting hit anyway. Pop it out of range, and then just run back into your target.
That's smart, okay.
And then you have 30 seconds of extra mitigations, and then if you do need to swap in an emergency, you still have your Warning Shot to pick it off when you need to.
Sounds good.
So then, quick recap on the skills here. So I'll go through the bonuses as well. So we have Warcry as the first one.
Evade rating, yeah.
Yep. We have Brink of Victory, the second one, which is the evade rating. And then doing them in the chain will either give you more mischance for Desolation or further evade rating to your third skill, which is Surety of Death.
So I presume we're gonna use the Surety of Death in this situation.
Yeah, so when you're single target tanking, you just want to do your Warcry, Maddening Strike.
Warcry? Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Brink of Victory, and then Surety.
That's a Brink of Victory. Yeah. Okay, so 3-2.
Yep.
3, 2, 3, 2, surety of death. Wait, I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, it's 3-2, 3-2, 3, 3-2, 3-2, or fist shield, fist shield, fist, fist shield, fist shield.
So it's the war cry, surety of death, and desolation.
No, it should be war cry.
Yeah.
It's your first one, fisting your target, then brink of victory.
Oh, brink of victory and then there's
And then surety of death.
Oh, surety of death. Okay.
So war cry is step 1, brink of victory is step 2, and then you have the choice of your step 3 or step 4, depending on if you're doing multiple targets or your single target tanking.
Do I have any benefits on using desolation after this?
No. More aggro, more dots on the target, but as a tank you're not really trying to lay down the damage. Okay. It's more about getting your evade rating as high as possible, because if you remember from the previous videos, if you evade, you have the
reset of
your masteries, and also a chance to regain 1% morale. So the more you're evading, the better.
I believe you have an item in your gear that if you evade, you restore 10% of your morale as well.
That's right? Correct, yeah. So this is the Warden class essence, and this is actually a game changer when you have lots of people attacking you. So every time you evade or partially evade, there's a 10% chance to restore 10% of your morale. And with an evade rating so high, you're going to evade an awful lot of attacks. So this is going to happen every 20 to 40 seconds. You're going to get a 10% morale heal if you're fighting multiple enemies. When you're fighting a single target, you don't evade so much, so it doesn't happen. But usually, for example, if I'm fighting the Fall of Khazak Doom, this can proc 9 to 10 times during the fight.
It still helps.
Nice. Yeah, well, a 10% morale heal when you have a million morale is a decent heal.
Yes, indeed. But it's 10% always, of course. It's okay, that's clear.
Yeah, which is a nice reason to buff your morale as high as possible. Okay,
and that's it for the gambit line with aggro and the shield gambit line.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and we'll say goodbye for now.
Thank you.